Fastlane, a show I did not care about. If you saw Tuesday's SmackDown, you got pretty much a repeat of some of the stuff that was there. The only difference was it was actual matches, and that's what you get. Some of the stuff you already knew was going to happen. This was really not a very interesting show. Mind you, there was a few things I did like. I'm not going to lie about that. But in general, there was nothing really in this show. So I'm going to do the last match. I don't need to wait. Because it was a repeat of Tuesday. Look, the week before last week, John Cena won the option to get into the Fatal 5-Way to make it a six-pack challenge. So you now, the next week, see everybody but John Cena on the show doing a Fatal 5-Way that's meant for this show. So now you get John Cena added, which really didn't mean much. Yeah, you could say, well, it's an interest. John Cena could become a 17-time champ. I even said that 2 weeks before. That is a possibility. John Cena could go up against Shinsuke Nakamura. But this was an exact repeat of Tuesday. The only thing that was different was when Sami Zayn was going to do the finger poke of doom, except there was no finger poke. He just said he would lie down for Kevin Owens, but Kevin didn't trust him. The little banter they had before the match really didn't help because they did this on Tuesday. If they had not done this on Tuesday, it might have been something interesting to see Kevin Owens not believe that he's being tricked. Because he really believed that Sami Zayn would roll and die for him in a sense. Fall on the blade for him. So when they did it like this, I didn't care. Calm down. When you introduce Shane McMahon, you knew he was going to interfere when it came to Kevin and Sami Zayn. It just was going to happen. You could see it right there. And once Kevin kicked him in the face, he stopped Kevin from getting the win, and then he stopped Sami from getting the win. So what does this mean? You're still going to have this stupid controversy between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan throwing in Kevin Owens as the catalyst along with Sami Zayn, who might be friends again because they both got screwed by Shane McMahon again. It just feels like a bad cycle that's not going to lead anywhere. Because it's obviously, to me, I could be wrong, that if Daniel Bryan is not going to wrestle, if he really isn't going to wrestle, this meant nothing. They have less than a month to actually promote if Daniel Bryan's going to wrestle or not. If he does not be promoted in the last week to wrestle, this was absolutely ridiculous. Why did you even go down this route with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan? Terrible writing. Now, the first match I did not care about. The tag match of Naomi and Becky versus Carmella and Natalya. Sorry. Look, I'm glad the women got a payout. They get paid for every time they get in the ring. They do. They get some extra pay as far as I understand. I could be wrong. Excuse me. But they do get paid. They get seen on television. They get paid a little bit more. So that happens. At least that's what I understand. But if they don't get paid and they just went out there just for nothing, it's just sad. You know why? These women really did try. Naomi worked her heart out. Becky worked her heart out. And get this. Naomi is over. But then you completely bury her. Becky Lynch is over. People were cheering for Becky. And guess what? They're doing nothing with her. No character, no championship, nothing. Just like Naomi. It's boring. On top of that, you have the Money in the Bank winner winning this match on her side. And what does it mean? Nothing. She's been in, how many days has it been so far? 266 days. She's, what, 99 days away from a year. And that's when the Money in the Bank's supposed to be cashed in. If you've done something interesting, like I said in SmackDown, why not give these women something to do? Why not let them go after the Money in the Bank briefcase? Why not let them have a tournament? Whoever wins can go up against Carmella and Carmella loses, she loses her briefcase and that person only has remaining days to cash in, which is 99 days left. It's 365 days out of the year. They got 99 days left. That might have been something more interesting than this. And they tried so hard to make this interesting. Naomi busted her ass and it hurts me. It just does. The first match I did like was Bobby Roode versus... I know people can say, what? Yes, Bobby Roode versus Randy Orton. You know why? It wasn't because it was a great story. It was because it was an old school style wrestling match. No high flying. No high impact to a certain extent. It was basically old school strategy wrestling. Not technical wrestling. They were not being heavily technical. They were not doing any high flying much. They were not doing any heavy impacts. It was an 80s style wrestling match where they're trying to use strategy to get over. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, this was a boring match. To me, it was not. It was a nice throwback that I did enjoy. It was a good match in the respect that they wrestled a style that people don't do anymore. It's either very high impact, high flying, or very technical. They don't use skill to actually do it. And I'm going to get a lot of bashing for this, saying that a lot of people don't use skill. Well, guess what? They don't. You know why? If you don't always use skill, you can still get over. And people these days believe in high impact garbage. People believe in high flying garbage. People believe in high technical wrestling garbage. They used to do it so well without all of that as the emphasis that people went crazy, spent millions of dollars, watched the movies these guys were in, and were loyal to the WWF-WWFE-WWE. This is something people don't get. Maybe I'm just a little too old. But I believe sometimes you don't need to do high flying. You don't need to do super technical. And you definitely don't need to do high impact every single time. Do something in the middle of the road and use strategy and it gets over. Now the thing that was getting me was, and I said this before, I thought they were going to go down this route. You have, I know people hate Jinder Mahal. I said I don't hate him. But I said he wasn't the best thing since sliced bread. It's just good to see they gave a jobber a chance. Okay? That's the way I see it. I'm glad to see a jobber get a chance. So, I was actually quite surprised they didn't do a triple threat. Now, they could still do it at WrestleMania. I'm not saying that's the wisest thing to do. And I'm not upset that Jinder was not in the match. I'm saying this clearly. I'm going to say it again. I'm not upset Jinder was not in the match. But if you're going to show a guy in the back, in this situation, why not do a triple threat? If you don't do it, then he's not really needed unless you're saving it for later or it leads absolutely nowhere. This could still absolutely lead nowhere, or this could be leading to WrestleMania as a triple threat. I'm not saying it's going to be a great match. I'm not saying it's going to be a terrible match at WrestleMania if it actually happens. Only thing I know is that they have two routes. One, they don't do a triple at WrestleMania, or they do. Because they could have got it done now, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. And now Randy Orton is champ. I'm just hoping that Bobby Roode turns heel. That's what I want. Now, what else? Let's go to New Day versus the Usos. This is another match I did enjoy quite a lot. It was a very good match between these guys. Then it got a little weird seeing that both sides were actually using each other's moves. Now, sometimes you can get away with that and it works perfectly fine. Or sometimes you completely confuse the crowd and how to feel. And that kind of went down that route. Not saying it was bad. In the beginning, people started getting a little confused. Because the more and more they started using the moves, they were kind of confused about it. But then they started getting into it because guess what? The Usos and the New Day are so over, people will eventually get what they're doing. Because they've gone through every move they've gone through, let them use each other's moves. Which was kind of a wise thing. But still, it came off as confusing to the crowd at first because you don't normally see it from each other. From those two, I mean. And then, here's the thing that I can't say that I'm happy about it, but I am glad it was done. And that's the Bludgeon Brothers coming out and destroying everyone, including... They annihilated Xavier Woods, trying to give him as much sympathy as possible. Unless he's actually legitimately hurt and they wanted to get him off TV anyway. It wasn't something I would agree with because I wanted Luke to talk. Understand, I wanted Luke Harper to talk, to state what they wanted. And a lot of people can say, well, they don't need to state it. They just proved it. They destroyed everybody and that's it. That means they want the titles. Well, sometimes that doesn't always work and get across. I believe that in this situation, they really didn't need to talk. This is just my personal view about it. Sometimes talking can really get over, particularly if you do it to the point. Luke and Eric just had to come out. Luke had to just say, Bludgeon Brothers wants the titles and we'll take them. Throw the mics down and walk away with their sledgehammers. That's it. That would have been enough. They don't need to say a lot. But in this situation, as I told you, I don't agree with it. But I understand why they did it. They had to bring the Bludgeon Brothers in some way. And now with less than a month to go, it's going to be a question what's going to happen after this. Will the Usos go up against the Bludgeon Brothers before WrestleMania? Or will they do a triple threat against the Bludgeon Brothers and New Day? Because they didn't lose the titles. They stopped the match. Because the Bludgeon Brothers interfered with it. So it's just a question. Now, how many matches were there? Oh, I did not see the kickoff show. I was working on something, so I forgot all about it. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what matches were there. So if you want to tell me what happened, tell me. But if I had to take a guess, it probably wasn't much. Maybe we had some match between the Fashion Police and somebody. I don't know. I don't know if there was any matches at all. And to be honest, I didn't really care. It's just sad to see they're just not doing anything interesting with SmackDown Live. Now, let me see if I'm forgetting anything. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Rusev. Now, this is a match I really didn't care about. But, I almost forgot it just now. But, it was beautiful to hear Aiden English rap. He's in my face. That boy, I'm taking it away. That man rapped. It wasn't the best rap, but he rapped. He got the people to follow behind him. And he got heat for himself and Rusev doing it. This is why I say Aiden English is gold. He made Rusev Day work. I don't care what anybody says. They said, oh yeah, Rusev was over. That's the reason why Rusev Day worked. No! It was Aiden English pushing and singing for Rusev to make it work. He's the reason why Rusev Day worked, not Rusev himself. Because if Rusev Day was going to get over, it would have gotten over even more with Lana. And it didn't. So you can see how well this came over. You can see how well this worked. And I'm telling you right now, Aiden English, the wrestler of the year. The man is beautiful. But this match was not. It was not a good match. Not because it was bad. Nope. It was because Shinsuke Nakamura nailed Rusev. Look, here's the problem. People want to cheer Rusev. They're not letting him turn face. He's still a freaking heel. Rusev should be already a face, and he's not. And because he's not a face, a heel must get destroyed by a face. And that is the reason why Shinsuke destroyed him. And then worse yet, on top of Shinsuke destroying him, the freaking match was too competitive for Shinsuke Nakamura. It did not help him. I know a lot of people would say, yes it did. It showed that he's tough. It showed he can go up against big guys. No. It shows that he struggled against Rusev, who is not as high on the totem pole as him. He should not be struggling against a Rusev. He shouldn't. He should have never faced Rusev. Yeah, he could have faced a jobber. He could have faced Fandango or Tyler Breeze and just destroyed one of them. He could have faced one of the brothers from Ascension. That would have been better than doing this to Rusev. This was stupid. The match was okay. It was not bad, but it did not help either one of these guys. And in the end, Nakamura won. Now, final thing we're talking about, which would make sense of the title, Asuka's choice. I think that will be the name. That is, look, I gotta say this. You know how I feel about Charlotte. I don't need to repeat myself. Because you know how I feel about her. The situation here is Ruby Riott, who is still a newcomer, made the match. I say it again. Ruby Riott made that match because she hid most of Charlotte's flaws. It was just sad. I am not lying. It was sad to see how bad Charlotte was botching. And I know she was botching. The beginning of the match, she botched. The middle of the match, she botched at least twice. At the end of the match, she botched. Trying to defeat her. And it was Ruby Riott who made that match work. When she did that first, she got onto Charlotte's back. And Charlotte was supposed to make sure she had her back straight. So she grabbed her legs and then slingshot her into the top turnbuckle. She didn't even do that. She was facing really forward and Ruby Riott had to pull herself up to do it. If anyone does not get it, how bad Charlotte is with someone she's not highly familiar with, look at this match and look at that one scene I'm talking about. You could see her leaning forward instead of straightening her back out so she can get some torque to help Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott had to do it all by herself. And I'm not saying that she had to lean super far back and go super far forward and literally drive her face into the top turnbuckle. But she had to make it look real. Not Ruby Riott having to do it for her. This shows how bad she is. And in the end, when the remaining bits of Riott Squad come out, and with Naomi and Becky being ejected was actually a nice touch. I was actually okay with it. Having both of them gone was fine. And then you have this stupid ref get rid of the rest of the Riott Squad, making it an even match again. It was damn stupid. You should have left the Riott Squad there. You should have left it there, and guess what? You should have let Ruby Riott win. I'm being honest here. I know it was better for Charlotte to win because they want to make this special. Ric Flair's daughter going up against the Empress of Tomorrow. That sounds like a good headliner for WrestleMania. I agree. The only problem is the daughter of Charlotte Flair. You can see how angry I am. The daughter of Ric Flair sucks. She can't deal with people she's not familiar with. No matter if they're a noob or if they're professional, she still sucks. The only difference is the ones that she works with are supposed to hide it. And in this case, Ruby Riott did not hide it as much as she could because Charlotte was botchy too much. But in the end, after the match was over, Asuka comes finally. We all thought that Asuka was going after Alexa Bliss. No. I don't know who Lex is going after. It's probably going to be Nia Jax. It's just sad to see they screwed up Nia Jax so bad. But in the end, you now have Asuka up against Charlotte at WrestleMania. That means Asuka is now going to be on the SmackDown roster because no matter how you play it, there is no way Asuka's losing. They're going to let her streak last beyond WrestleMania. That is a fact. They're not going to let her job there. I do not believe that. If she does, I'll be shocked. So when it comes down to it, Asuka's now going to SmackDown Live because if she wins the title, which she will, in the end, she's going to be a road dog talent. Just think about that for a minute. I don't care if this thing's going beyond 20 minutes. I want to make this very clear. Think about that for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Asuka, who has been the staple of NXT, who has been the staple of Raw, now is challenging for the SmackDown Women's title. And because she's challenging for the SmackDown Women's title, she might win that title. She wins that title, she's going to be on SmackDown, where practically every woman has been written badly. Charlotte, who, you know how I feel, is still needing work. But get this, even though I do believe she needs more work, and I do believe that she's too botchy still, and I do believe she needed to stay in NXT until now to perfect her craft. She was brought up too early. I would never like to see even Charlotte be treated like this. Charlotte is being treated badly by the writing. She should be written way better. She should be. And she's not. This feud with Ruby Riott is a joke. Mind you, Ruby Riott wrestled well enough to hide Charlotte's, at least what she could, of her flaws. But still, the writing is horrible. And now seeing that Asuka potentially, and I'm sure of it, is going to be on SmackDown Live after April. It's just sad to see her may keep her streak, but she's not going to be written for at all. And if she is written for properly, everyone else is going to suffer even worse than they are now to maintain the Empress of Tomorrow. But this is just my point of view about this show. Now, should you watch it? You could. Roode and Orton's match was really good. The Bludgeon Brothers match, well, not the Bludgeon Brothers, they were at the end of the match, destroying everybody, including Xavier Woods. See it right there. Usos with the New Day was really good. The Bludgeon Brothers beating them up, you already know how I feel. You could watch those two matches, you would enjoy it. I would recommend you not see the six-pack challenge because it's not necessary. The six-pack challenge was a repeat of Tuesday last week. Just John Cena was added. And now John is now going to go for, you guessed it, go back to Raw and try to get Undertaker because he lost the match. This is just my point of view. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.